What's up, listeners? I'm your host, Gian Lucero. Join me now at my first podcast episode of For the Love of Movies. Today, we are going to talk about 3 topics. First will be my 5 favorite films. Second will be my most favorite and least favorite movie genres. And third will be my most anticipated movies of 2024. First, let us start with my personal 5 favorite films. My 5 favorite films are The Sound of Music, Dead Poets Society, Good Will Hunting, Stand By Me, and Cinema Paradiso. Out of all these 5 films, my personal favorite is The Sound of Music. Whenever I'm having a bad day, this is the movie that I would watch the most. And even if I'm not feeling myself today, I am certain that this movie will never fail to make me happy. This movie just brings positive vibes even after its release in 1965. And Dead Poets Society is also my personal favorite because it taught me how to step outside of my comfort zone and how to find my own voice. Next is my most favorite and least favorite movie genres. My most favorite movie genres are coming of age, rom-coms, action, and animation, while my least favorite movie genres are horror and sci-fi. In my most favorite movie genres, coming of age films are my personal favorite because I can fully relate to the protagonists who are basically growing up or coming of age from the title itself. And I really love animation. I grew up watching animated movies when I was a kid, and I'm a Disney kid growing up. And I'm looking forward to watch the Oscar winner for Best Animated Feature Film, which is The Boy and the Heron. While my least favorite movie genres are horror and sci-fi. Growing up, I was never really a fan of horror movies. In fact, it scares me up until now. And I always get nightmares whenever I watch horror movies. So whenever I watch horror movies, I make sure to watch something light just to make sure I won't get nightmares of it. Next up is sci-fi. As for sci-fi, I'm willing to give sci-fi films a chance depending on the story. However, sci-fi films in general just scares me, knowing that it could reflect our possible outcome for our future in the human race. And the fact that some dystopian sci-fi films that were released before are happening now is an eerie foreshadowing of what's to come. And next is my most anticipated movies of 2024. These are Inside Out 2, Deadpool and Wolverine, Furiosa, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, The Fall Guy, Twisters, and Wicked. Out of all these 2024 films, my most anticipated was Inside Out 2. Back in 2015, the first Inside Out film was my personal favorite Pixar film, and I liked how Pixar tackled the topic of mental health, and I'm excited to see on what they will do in the sequel, knowing that they added new characters such as Anxiety, played by Maya Hawke, the star of Stranger Things. Next is Deadpool and Wolverine, knowing the superhero fatigue after Avengers Endgame. This could revive the superhero genre. Next is Furiosa, and I'd like to see how Anya Taylor-Joy and Chris Hemsworth will work together in this upcoming action film. Next up, here are some key takeaways from my podcast. Everyone has their own preferences and taste in movies. Oo, may kanya-kanya tayong taste sa movies. Halimbawa, gusto mo ng horror pero ako hindi. And it is totally fine to disagree with your different opinions about your films. For example, you like Oppenheimer but you dislike Barbie. That is totally fine. You can disagree. It is not wrong to disagree with different opinions. And that's it for today's episode. So, one last time, for the love of movies, I'm Gian Lucero. Thank you so much for listening to my first podcast episode. Feel free to show your feedback about my podcast. Don't forget to like and share my posts on my Facebook and Instagram account of my podcast and the teaser.